Now, what was the mystery egg at the end of Godzilla King of the Monsters? Do you guys remember this egg? They showed it in the credits, and we were thinking at the time that they were seeding it to bring back Mothra. But when Mothra came back in Godzilla X Kong the New Empire, she came back in an entirely different way that had nothing to do with hatching out of an egg or being birthed out of any sort of cocoon, even going through the evolution state, similar to what we saw with the Mothra larva in Godzilla King of the Monsters. So we're going to discuss this Mothra mystery in this video. If you guys enjoy my Monsterverse content, consider subscribing, and we're going to discuss exactly what this egg is. So let's get into it.
The Atomic Fail.
In Godzilla King of the Monsters, there was a end credit sequence. Surprise, surprise. In every movie, there's an end credit sequence. But in Godzilla King of the Monsters, we had an end credit sequence that was teasing a lot of things to come in future Monsterverse movies. And one of those things they showed was the existence of another egg that they found deep into Mothra's territory. Now, the thing that a lot of people were wondering at that time is this the rebirth of Mothra? Well, according to a cut scene from Godzilla King of the Monsters, there was another Mothra egg that was set to hatch. There was supposed to be a scene that they were going to show of the so-called Mothra twins that they were setting up at Godzilla King of the Monsters that were, I guess, almost retconned into Jaya in Godzilla X Kong, approaching this Mothra egg and seeding it for the future Monsterverse films. But when Mothra reappeared in Godzilla X Kong the New Empire, she wasn't the same Mothra we knew. She looked cooler, she was more beautiful, she was a little bit more ethereal looking, but the way that she came back to life was really a big surprise for me. I was thinking that Mothra was going to be in a cocoon somewhere and kind of rehatch, or maybe we weren't going to see another Mothra larva, but we were going to at least see the birth of this new Mothra. Well, we definitely did see the birth of a new Mothra, but it was in a much different, and in my opinion, a much lazier way, where in this version, they actually just kind of had Mothra be summoned by the energy from the crystals, right? She kind of just was formed by the energy from the crystals, and we are finding out that this apparently, according to Adam Wingard, is like the Mothra of Mothras. So this may have been the queen of all of the other Mothras, and this may have been like the ultimate Mothra that was existing inside the Hollow Earth. But the way that this Mothra spawned, it had nothing to do with an egg. It had nothing to do with a cocoon, and it had nothing to do with a larva. So what is that egg that was in that Godzilla King of the Monsters end credit sequence? Now, why a lot of people can just go ahead and assume that this is most definitely just probably another Mothra egg, I think it's worth mentioning that it could very well be Battra, or could just very well be another Toho kaiju. Now, knowing Legendary, there's a large chance that they just don't ever touch on this again, and that we never see this thing pop up again in the Monsterverse. But what exactly is this egg if we're going to delve into the lore a little bit here? It seems like this egg is definitely probably Mothra, but could definitely also be Battra. Now, these are some of the original origins of Battra from the Toho universe. It said Battra is a dark domain moth kaiju who first appeared in the Godzilla film Godzillaverse Mothra. Now, Battra was kind of a dark counterpart of Mothra. He was born from the same egg, and Battra was created by the Earth itself 12,000 years ago after an ancient civilization created a climate controlling device. Now, Battra, of course, being, a representative of nature, destroyed this device, but began, I guess, like Ultron from Marvel or something, to just see humanity as purely evil. Mothra, of course, fought Battra and sealed them in the Antarctic Ocean. Now, finding this Mothra egg, or this egg deep into Mothra's territory, could very well be Battra. Now, we could see Battra appear in a Monsterverse film, and I think that it's actually more possible than a lot of people like to think, considering this is a dark counterpart to Mothra, and considering Mothra is one of the main kaiju who consistently appears in these Monsterverse films, and a consistent fan favorite at that. Now, Battra's original design or intention was actually conceived. He was conceived as the Gigamoth. Now, the Gigamoth was set up to be a villain of Godzilla versus the Gigamoth, which was set to be a Godzilla movie coming out in the 90s in the Heisei series. Now, you can see a little bit of concept art for the Gigamoth here, but Gigamoth eventually evolved into Battra, and Battra eventually ended up popping up in the Godzilla vs. Mothra movie. So I think it's very likely that we could see Battra appear in a future Monsterverse film. if they stay on track and actually implement these Toho Kaiju. But comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about Battra. Let me know what you guys think about this egg. If you think this is just going to end up being either a retcon or just something that doesn't even get touched on again in the Monsterverse. And for this video, that's all I got. So until the next one, be safe and stay well, guys.